In many ways, I think you see a proclivity in West Germany for people to assimilate into a sort of free, democratic, global, so-called West. The one thing about Hildegard Knef is that she could be very well traded in for any American actress. So she has that sort of cinematic look. It seems like to mediate this experience of having lived through the horrors of a Nazi regime, that if you would of course turn, if not subconsciously, to American film, this kind of refuge from that. And in the East, of course, very famously we see these propaganda murals and posters being circulated in East Germany. They're done in this style called Soviet idealism. And this is something we see in all of the Soviet states. It looks like, you remember the North Korea video? She's wearing that similar headscarf. These women look like they're fresh and clean, absolved of the sins of Germany, and now part of the Soviet family. East Germans had access and knowledge to what people in West Germany were buying and wearing. So one way that the Soviet Union capitalized upon that desire was through plastic. Plastic is this miracle from chemistry and petrochemicals that can be molded into any shape and take any color. Right? So it's kind of a dream space. So plastics are everywhere, like in the kitchen, in the house, and our jewelry in East Germany, especially. The look we chose for West Germany was Romy Schneider. She's an Austrian actress, but she also had a German and French citizenship. Very iconic, very classically beautiful. You all remember her as being sort of a beauty icon. One thing we could look at in the 70s is the way youth culture deals with the aftermath of World War II, which is something that a lot of them weren't even conscious or cognizant of at the time. I see in the look that we chose, which is Uschi, she has this like nice little floral ascot, a sort of nod to that countercultural movement that's happening all over the world. Our West German look for this time is this kind of cosmopolitan, more maybe jaded even, kind of a young woman. Right? And in the East, our beauty ideal that we chose is of a kind of innocent flower child. She's frolicking in like the Edenic paradise of yesteryear, a kind of return to innocence. People are not subjects without agency under either of these regimes. So in the West, we chose this pop singer. Her name is Nina. She sang 99 Left Balloons, if you know it. Very iconic song and kind of a global anthem. And to return to our sort of totem about health and wellness, that she is of course donned in her jazzercise, like sweatbands and all of that. Okay, so that's part of the aesthetic, this aerobic, high energy kind of sort of health and optimism. Okay. In East Berlin, actually, punk is a growing political problem for the Stasi. The Stasi are the secret police. Punk comes from, of course, England and the English working class. And those cassette tapes, those images, and some of those aesthetics make their way to East Germany, where they take on really powerful political signification. It's anti-authoritarian. And the thing about punk in East Germany is it's not just to be rebellious for the sake of being rebellious, it's actually very dangerous. So people are jailed, are beaten, people are asked to turn over their friends. In 1989, we all watched live televised broadcasts of the Berlin Wall finally falling. The world really celebrated this moment. Okay, so the look we chose for this was Claudia Schiffer, of course. But I think it's interesting to consider that the supermodel herself is actually a product of a kind of history. Actually, to have a face that can be so recognizable is much a sign of the times. I guess people wore their sunglasses in their hair a lot, so. Germans generally have a lot of capital. Now, men and women even have like a tremendous access to wealth compared to the rest of Europe. So they are the ones that can afford to take these global jet-setting vacations to Spain or Ibiza or anywhere else, right? There is a kind of vacation culture. Don't forget that Germans have always had this preoccupation with nudism and sunbathing and all of these things, right? So to look like you've been at the beach, basking in the sun and the radiance of it all. Yeah, it's super German. It's pretty clear in the 2010s that not everything is roses and daisies in the European Union. Germany, as one of the world's largest economies, in very many ways is the heartland of the EU. Toni Gahn is a supermodel. She's from Hamburg. She reminds us again of the cult of health and wellness that saturates all of these aesthetic transformations that have been happening in Germany over the years. In Her Youth is kind of a summary of those last 100 years. In the 100 Years series, we've always explored propaganda as one of the sources in which a beauty ideal is produced and disseminated. And certainly we could say that that propaganda was designed to inspire people to do certain things. I would consider asking the question, how is the cover of Elle magazine with Claudia Schiffer on it also designed to inspire us to do certain things or be certain kinds of subjects, right? That every image and every face already carries with it a suite of political meanings. They're buried somewhere. What 100 Years of Beauty does is invite us to think about those meanings, their genealogies, and how we wear them on our own faces.